What's going on, everybody? Jason here, jasonbracht.com, and I want to talk about the top three mistakes people are making when it comes to making money publishing via Kindle. And even if you're not even using Kindle, you're using ebooks. If you're on other platforms, these are the top three mistakes that most people that I talk to are making that are holding them back from making as much money as they should be. So, number one, it's the most important thing when it even comes to, I don't care what business you're in. Number one, there's no clear, set, defined goals. When I first got into Kindle, it seems like forever ago, but it was actually not too long ago. It was November of 2013. And I really didn't know anything. I didn't have a training course. I didn't have anybody teaching me. I was doing it all on my own. And I'm doing what you guys are doing. I was on YouTube and I was watching videos. I was taking notes. I was doing, everything I could to absorb as much information as I could on Kindle publishing. So what I did was I just consistently was pumping my brain full of good info. And when I got to that point, I said, you know what? I think I have a good grasp of everything. Let me go ahead and start setting some goals. And one of my first goals was I vividly remember this because I told a friend of mine, I said, I want to make $50,000 a year on Kindle. And one of the things that was really struck me was $50,000 a year, is good money. A lot of people in this overhyped internet marketing, world we live in today will tell you, oh man, you got to be making 50 grand a month for you to even be doing anything. Well, let me tell you guys, 50 grand a year doing something like ebooks, passive income is good money, and that was my initial goal. I mean, I set that goal and I said, you know what, I'm going to get there. And I visualized it. And I really sat back and just tried to make sure that I got to where I was going. So that was step number one. It was making sure that I had a clear, defined goal. And that's why most people are not getting where they need to get to, because they don't have a goal. They're like, oh, I want to publish 150 books. I want to publish 300 books. I want to publish 500 books. Guess what? What does that mean? I could publish 1,000,000 books if I'm only making, $20 a month. What does that mean, right? So we need to not worry about how many books we're producing. We need to worry about how much money we are making, okay? So when I set that goal for 50K a year, I really meticulously broke down every single step that I needed to in order to get there, right? So I broke down not only, how many books I needed to sell a day. I broke down how many books that I wanted to produce. So I did have a goal of how many books I wanted to produce. And then from there, I said, this is how many I need to sell each day. So I had it broken down by the number. So it was really easy for me to see. Sometimes people, they'll set these goals, but they can't see them. They can't see the end. They don't have an end game. They have a goal. Hey, I want to make $1 million. I've been guilty of that when I was setting goals, 3 or 4 years ago, before I really started studying success and the science of it. I would set these crazy goals. Oh, I want to be able to deadlift 500 pounds by the end of the year. Well, shoot, if I don't have a strategic way to get there, guess what? I'm not going to get there. And I didn't get there. And I look back on them and I laughed because I'm like, these were so preposterous the way I set these goals up. But now I get to most of my goals because I set little building blocks. If you watch, I'm a huge football fan. If you watch the NFL, what do they say after each game? I'm just taking it one game at a time. And hey, that's a boring answer, but that's the way we need to look at things. When you're doing Kindle publishing, the way I'm talking about it, when you're outsourcing books, we do it one book at a time, and we make sure each book is as quality as possible. But let's circle the wagon back to the main point I'm trying to make. Set some clear, defined goals. And not only that, you need to write them in the present tense. I will be making $25,000 a month on Kindle by 2016 or whatever it is, okay? And you need to write that down, not just type it in a computer and never come back and look at it. You need to write it down, and you need to be writing it down almost every single day. And, if you're really serious about this and you want to make some good money, you need to also make sure that this is the first thing you look at when you wake up in the morning, okay? Have it posted on your nightstand, have it posted on your bathroom mirror, and look at it and say, hey, I will make $25,000 a month by the 2016, whatever your date is. It doesn't matter. And then before you go to bed, it's an old Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich 101. Make sure this is the last thing you do before you go to bed. That's your chief aim. That's your chief purpose in life, is to make sure that you're getting to where you need to get. So, guys, that's it. That's step number one. And step number two is really making sure that not only are we having our goals, but when we're producing books, we're making sure they're good quality. So many people are really trying to abuse the system. If you go on Kindle right now, you can see hundreds of books that are just piss poor quality. You got 500 books on coconut oil. When I first came out with a book on coconut oil, I was probably one of 10 people to have a book on that. Now there's hundreds, 500s. I don't even know. But anyways, the point is quality books. I think what's going to separate you from watching this video, the smart people that are actually getting in and absorbing knowledge from the yahoos that are out there just pumping out books, crazy amounts of books each month, is a quality, guys. I've got books that I produced in December of 2013, the end of last year, that still really do really well. And, and I see a lot of people out there that I talk to on a day-to-day basis in this business that are just really not making any sense of what they're doing, because they're just rushing out as many books as they can, which goes back to the first point of, if you talk to people, the first question they'll ask you is, how many books do you have? Well, again, what does that mean? Who cares? How much money do you make? You're in this to make money. If I'm spending my time doing something, how many books I have is irrelevant. How much money is in my bank account is what's important. So we're doing quality books. And how are we doing quality books? Well, we're hiring quality writers, okay? If you're watching this video, listen, I'm talking about outsourcing books. I'm talking about hiring ghostwriters. We're not writing our own books. We're hiring other people that have expertise in these subjects. So we're hiring good writers. How do you hire a good writer? I'm going to tell you, step number one, we want to make sure that we're asking for a native speaking English person. You do not want a person who does not speak English as their first language. And there are people in India, there are people in the Philippines that have perfect English, but that's not the first language they learned. And oftentimes what happens is you get a very technical book, that technical sounding book that doesn't jive. It doesn't flow well. And you'll see the reviews. If I look back on some of my earlier books, you will see a lot of bad reviews from people saying, listen, like, this book sounds like it was a technical guide written by someone in a country that is not, an American English speaking country. So we want to make sure we're asking for native English speaking writers. Okay. Another quick tip, another pro tip, when you're actually placing your ad on Elance or Odesk or whatever freelancing service that you decide to use, put a little question in there and ask them. It could be a random question. What's the color of the sky? Who is the first president of the United States? And what that does is, it really makes sure that people are reading your ads. A lot of times people just go through and they'll reply to any ad trying to get hired. And what that tells me is, I want someone that's detail oriented. If I tell somebody something, I want them to know that, what I'm telling them is what needs to happen. Okay. Sometimes it's not a suggestion. It's what needs to happen. So if you put that little question in there, that ensures that person is paying attention to the details. They're reading through your ad that you posted looking for a writer, and you're hiring them based upon their credentials and their professionalism, their quality of work, and so that's important, guys. Do that one little thing, and I guarantee you that you're going to weed out a lot of people that are just complete jackasses. Okay, recap it. Step one, to really the mistakes people are making is, again, they're not setting goals. So I want you to set your clear defined goals. After you watch this video, I want you to sit down, think about it, write some goals down. Drop me a comment right here. Let me know what your goal is. Put it out there in public. Get it out in the open. Let people know what you're trying to accomplish, because people might laugh at you. A lot of your friends are out there dicking around. They're not doing nothing. They're working dead end job, and you tell them about your goals you're having, and they're like, oh, who needs that? But listen, if you want to be successful, if you want to live a happy, fulfilled life, you have to have goals, and you have to make sure they're attainable. Also, again, number two, biggest mistake people are making is they are just completely putting out piss poor quality books. I mean, these books, to be blunt with you, fucking suck. They are not good. They are not quality. They might fool somebody for a little bit, but after Amazon, the customers start to review these books, then that book never sells again because it just gets hammered. Number three, the biggest mistake, and this might be number one. Actually, this isn't number one. Goal setting is number one. But number three, one of the biggest mistakes people are making is, quite simply, they do not outsource. They try to do everything themselves. They try to not only do reviews themselves, they try to, take every single thing to ensure that they're making the most amount of money. But what ends up happening is, inevitably, they end up losing money because they're spending so much time day to day on the Kindle business. They're doing all the menial things that you could be paying somebody a very low wage comparatively. Okay, now for them it's a good wage because that's where they live in their country. That's a good wage for them. But for we're speaking, $3 to $4 to $5 an hour isn't that much to pay someone to maybe run your business for 20 hours a week. And what I noticed, and what a lot of my colleagues and friends noticed, is when we started outsourcing, when we started really, taking ourselves out, making the really high level creative thinking, we started becoming really more successful because, we were making all the super creative decisions, and we were taking all the little menial tasks that were taking a lot of our time away and putting them onto somebody else who was glad to do it. I remember, I don't know where I heard, I think Richard Branson, somebody was talking about Richard Branson. He doesn't even go grocery shopping. Like he pays people to go grocery shopping. He pays people to do everything. And you know what? He comes up with great idea after great idea because he is on that super genius high level of thinking mode that I want you guys to be on, that I want, all the people I'm working with to be on, so make sure you're outsourcing. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. And, you can legitimately take a lot of this business, out of your hands, but you can still have that overall, control of what's going on. Like Jack Welch at GE, he was the type of person, he didn't micromanage. He took a lot of the middle managers out of his organization when he first took over because there was just so much bureaucracy. There's so much middle management and micromanagement going on. And so he took that out and he started making all these big decisions. And that company, kind of revolutionized the American business. And so, ultimately, guys, those are three major mistakes. And those are three, you might say, there's other little things going on. But those are the three main mistakes that I'm seeing that people are making. And it's costing them money. It's not even it's costing them money. It's costing them time. And it's really a shame because, they could be a success story. They could be making money. But they're sitting there on, Facebook or message boards complaining about why they can't make money on Kindle. So that's it, guys. Set your goals. Make sure you're putting out quality material, which I covered in another video I did earlier, but that's so important. I have to beat the drum on that because so many people have failed to do that. And again, number three, want to make sure that we're outsourcing. We want to make sure we're putting out, high output material and doing the higher level of thinking. So thank you guys very much for watching the video, and we will see you on the next one.